potent advice, and inspiration from real self-made millionaires. Welcome to The Eventual Millionaire with your host, Jaime Masters.
Welcome to Eventual Millionaire. I'm Jaime Masters, and I've been already laughing so hard. I have Antonia St. Dunbar on the show. Now, she runs Thinx Icon, a brand new business that did 1.8 million, which is insane, on KickStarter in 40 days, called Brooklyn Shoe Factory. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Jaime. Thanks for having me.
You do an insane amount, and it's all about women and the issues that women have, along with new trends and technology, which I'm really excited about. But Thinx started in 2014, and you've started a whole bunch of companies since. How did you even get into entrepreneurship? Was it Thinx?
Entrepreneurship definitely did begin with Thinx. Yes, actually. And I got to correct the timeline because time flies so fast. The idea actually formulated between Radha and Mickey Agarwal way back, I think maybe 2006. Mickey had shared the idea with me 2010. We founded the LLC 2011. Worked in a silo, like planning, knowing this idea was going to be huge, and then bringing it out to the market with a KickStarter campaign. Actually, I think that was 2013. And then 2014, we had the bigger launch that the world got to know about, but it was years of hard work. And that's the thing that entrepreneurs don't really know about or see, is that there's so much that goes on behind the scenes before the world gets to start to pay attention. And then to fast forward to now, it was while I was walking to the headquarters of Thinx that I had an idea for a high-tech shoe. My feet were killing me, and that is what I'm focused on right now. And the name of that company actually is Antonia St. New York, a play on my grandmother's name, and then also my name, my first and middle name, because designers oftentimes use their names. So that's my now focus. But yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Okay, I want to totally get into the shoe thing because, man, I have feet issues. But what's
so many of us do.
Is when we're looking up and like I found it on like Wikipedia, right? And I think you have a really, really huge point to make, that the world is like, oh, she's only been in this for a few years. Look how amazing this is, and how fast the growth was. What did and you can relate it to the new shoe company too, but what was those years of figuring all this stuff out? What did you actually do from 2011 to 2013?
I know, right? It was, at the time I was focused in advertising and public relations. There was no one person out of us three co-founders that was focused on it full time. Mickey had her restaurants, Radha had her puppet company. I was working in a recording studio playing my cello. I was raised to be a classical cellist. But yet when we shared the seed of the idea, which was a stain-resistant underwear with a give back in 2010, a seed was planted, and it just made us all know. And I had this hunger. I was so deeply unsatisfied with the work that I was doing at the time. I wanted to make a difference in the world. And I just wasn't finding I was doing that on a day-to-day basis. And I just decided to take the leap. It was June 2012, and my husband said, you know what, if you believe in it, let's do it. I will support you in this. And for 9 months, we worked on product development, worked on finalizing the prototype. I found a production partner. We did probably 20 rounds of prototypes just to get the fit, the technology, everything right to bring to market. And then we had to launch, and KickStarter, we brought that to KickStarter, launch, and it took another 9 months to finalize everything and get production ready, and then we delivered product.
So did you know, like, and that's the thing, right? Because you're jumping into an industry that has almost no innovation for ever.
No innovation.
Right?
Yeah.
And you guys are two people that didn't have or three people that didn't have a ton of experience in this industry beforehand. How the heck do you do that? How do you just keep going with the punches? Like, everybody wants to hear how you dealt with the craziness and the learning curve.
Well, necessity is the mother of every invention. So we all had this problem of, let's just share and break the taboo and say leaking and staining in our underwear during our monthly period. So we're like, there is no underwear that's widely available that will address this. Yet it is a problem that when we talk to our girlfriends, we talk to anybody that has this issue of a monthly period, which we all do, they were having this problem, but no one was talking about it. And you could go to a department store and there's no functionality. There's also no durability. Underwear would fall apart. They'd be these beautiful, lacy, frilly things. They wouldn't last. So we just knew that we wanted to make this, that it was a problem that we had, therefore, and finding that others had the same problem, we could do something about that. And I don't know what it was. I look back now and I attribute it to my father. He was the chief of designer at General Motors. And he ended up working there for 30 years. And he led the teams doing the car logos. He also, when General Motors owned Frigidaire for some 60 years, he developed a whole line for that, company that in my childhood, I actually used a stove and refrigerator my father had designed.
Wow.
And he would always point out to me in the world, like, do you see how that you can't even read that sign, like how horribly designed that is? Or you see how that building, the columns don't really support the structure. It looks awful. And he's like, or just pointing out things as we would drive in the car. And I started to learn, like, design can either be functional and lead to an increased enjoyment or ability in your life, or it can hold you back. And the same thing I found with underwear. And that's why I just really, when I led the design of the product, I really was like, how can this be better? And now same with the shoes, like, how can this be better? And in both industries, it's a patriarchal system where these men have designed these things that really have no function for us. Yeah, and they kind of suck.
It's like a David and Goliath though, too. Like, that's the thing that is so impressive, is that not only did you go, oh, this is a problem, because everybody knows, like, shoes, everybody knows heels are a problem. Like, every female knows that that's a problem, but I shouldn't say no, but barely any people are going, let me fix it. Not even the big shoe companies. It's a huge industry. Don't get me wrong. But how do you, as the little tiny David and Goliath, right? How do you actually face that stuff? Because that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And I will say that a team is so important. And having my two co-founders, they really gave me the confidence to also quit my job and focus on it full time. I saw both of them thriving in their own businesses. They're definite spitfires, both of them. And I just felt buoyed by that support. And it really is a story of three women coming together and making this dream possible. And when we launched on KickStarter, finding the community, finding the people that actually were resonating with the idea, people started to talk about it. And it attracted some very, very influential strategic partners, people that wanted to invest in our business. One, we got very far with almost bringing them on as a partner before we realized the deal wasn't right. And then we attracted an incredible strategic partner for us, who is one of the number one, like, I think they are number one suppliers for Nike. They do a lot of Lululemon, a lot of really great other brands. And, it's a testament to us finding something. I like to say, the riches are in the niches, because we identified a problem that no one was really addressing because it was such a taboo. No one really wanted to talk about it in a fun, engaging, informative way where people could talk about it. If you look at the French Polynesian word that is the root of taboo, it's actually tapua, and it means menstruation.
What? I don't even know that.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
And so it's literally a taboo, even just dealing with the monthly cycle. So we wanted to break that down. And by doing it, we found our audience. We have, millions of customers all around the world that love the product and share it with their friends. Women are great about sharing solutions with each other. So just believing in it and knowing that this is a problem that we face, we've got to bring it out into the world, because if we believe in it and need it, other people do too.
Well, I saw it on Facebook. One of my friends posted. I was like, why is one of my friends posting about it? Like, it's weird, right? Because even for me, it's weird because it's taboo, right? And then I bought some and I was like, this is amazing. So, but is it just the idea? Like, even when you think about the shoe company, so when we know there's a bazillion different solutions, quote unquote, for heels. And I've had foot surgery and I have an extra bone in my foot. Most people don't realize that. I had one of them taken out and the other one. So I can't really wear heels. I used to. And I can't, and I have tons of them, and I can never wear any of them. And so everybody knows that the issue is there in women in shoes, right?
Mm-hmm. But they're gorgeous, right? The right shoe is gorgeous, and it changes the outfit, changes the way you walk, everything.
I agree a million times over. So you're like, problem, there should be a solution by now. How do you dive into the market for that? Because I feel like with the underwear that you had before, at least that was so taboo that it created a stir, right? Whereas you're like, shoes are a problem. It's like, yeah, they are. We know they are. Okay, great. What's your thing? What do we got? How did you get 1.8 million?
Yes,
on Kickstarter.
In 45 days on Kickstarter. We were like the 120th most funded campaign in history on Kickstarter, which was incredibly validating for the idea. We identified just the pain points and told the story in a compelling, again, engaging way that women and men who love the shoe could relate to. And what I did was I created the design based on the problems that I had, and then found two shoemakers here in New York to actually bring the ideas to life, and then also consulted with a leading podiatric surgeon to be like, you know what? These three other things are some of the main problems that women face. Let's add those too. And so I focused on three things. Three things was the three C's, I like to call it. Women, we have diamonds on our fingers, 5 C's, carrot color, cuts, and all of those. And then with the shoe, I was like, why is it that this is on our feet, our very foundation that we move through life with, but yet it doesn't get the same weight of importance as something that's just sparkling on our finger? And so I call it the 3 C's, which is comfort, construction, and then also customizing the fit. So I tackled those three things. And with comfort, that's key. That's so key. You have these high heels, even flats. There's no technology in these shoes that support you while you walk. We are walking on harder surfaces than we ever walked as a population on this planet. And yet the only thing that gives us a bounce back is a sneaker, which we should only be really wearing when we're running or when we're working out. We don't necessarily want to wear that with our beautiful clothes to a meeting, or to a night out on the town, but yet that's what we feel the best in. So I basically took technology, took design from the sneaker world and built it into the shoe. One of our taglines is, it looks classic on the outside, but feels like a sneaker on the inside. And, oftentimes when one wears a flat or a heel with the bare foot, nothing else on it, no sock. And so I built in comfort strips around the heel, comfort strips around the tops of the toes. Women have longer toes where you get a bump. You get corns, you get calluses. Women have bunions. 60% of us have bunions. And that hits the inside of a very hard shoe. Why does the inside of that shoe need to be hard? So I built, I call it the soft surround system, surrounding the whole entire foot. And the insert that I worked tirelessly on with and consulting the podiatric surgeon, you have 2.5 times your body weight coming down on the ball of your foot when you walk in a high heel. And so as a 120-pound woman, that's 350 pounds. Oh my goodness. Of course your feet are going to kill, even in 20 minutes of wearing it. So I built up that area underneath the ball of the foot to give you an additional bounce back. A heel cup to hold you in the heel, help you walk. So all of these different things, comfort. Then when it comes to fit, 88% of women wear shoes that are the wrong size for their feet. It's crazy. We don't even know our size because think about it. When is the last time that you've even fit your feet? Like when's the last time you measured your feet? Probably in a long time.
When I had to for my children, so I did the little thing on the shoe thing. Yeah,
sure. Like to show the kids how to do it. Like I remember those Brannock devices in the shoe store when I was going and getting my shoes as a kid. I stopped measuring my feet when I was maybe 18 years old. Thought that I was that same size for the rest of my life. You're not. Women who go through pregnancy, weight changes, our feet change. They actually do grow bigger. And we wear stretchy sandals and summer shoes. Our feet stretch out. Our sizes change. Also, 60% of us have 2 different sized feet. So at our company, we have actually the ability to mix and match your sizes. No other company does that. It's complicated, sure, on the fulfillment level. But if you can do it, we have a split shoe box. It's incredibly powerful because then you can have a shoe that you don't wear with a sock or anything else, just fit your feet perfectly. So that's the other thing. And then also construction. That's the last one, the last C, which is I found that I would buy an $800 pair of shoes. They would fall apart. The heel tip would pop off. It would get scuffed. It would look horrible at my second event that I would wear them to. In New York, especially, you've got these grates, these city grates. You step in one, the whole heel gets shredded. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So we have literally ballistic nylon, bulletproof material around the back of the heel. We have built up the heel tips. We have heel tips that last 2.5 times longer. Like we really were thoughtful in the design. And again, this is just, creating the most ideal product, looking at it and being like, what could I do? And finding the right production partners to bring it to life and just believing in it. Like, I want these shoes so bad. That's why I, have the late nights and the harrowing moments of, oh my God, is this going to work? And you just get through it, because you're dedicated to it. You have to be super, super passionate as an entrepreneur. It's tough work. to bring something new to life.
Well, that's what, okay. So I want to unpack all of that because that's so much. And what you were talking about, and it's really interesting because you can hear all the features coming through because you are the product designer also. You can be like, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. And we're told as entrepreneurs, like features versus benefits. And I watched your video, and your video does an amazing job at explaining the tech, but why it's so important. So that way the woman goes, I do want that. Not only like, because no offense, everybody's like, I have the best shoe. It's more comfortable. It's whatever. And then you buy it. And you're like, this sucks. Right.
Yeah.
So how do you get that message across to everyone, especially you being so close to the product?
Infographics, I find in the realm of people not actually reading much.
Seriously. Nobody does.
Yeah. You really have to bring it right into their face. And so we did create a video that's short that you can see the technology come to life of CG animation way before the product even like was absolutely fully finalized. We had to digitalize, and represent it. And then speaking to the benefits after every piece of the solution. So for instance, with the underwear, it was like, this is moisture wicking. And we explained why that's important. With the shoe, it's like this strip helps prevent blisters.
Yes.
And so people really got the point. People go by so fast with choosing to use a product, and you have to explain it quickly and digestibly, for them to understand it. And visuals really do help.
Yeah, everybody should check out the video too, because it was, so don't get me wrong, like I was like, I've given up on heels, so no offense, but I was like, I'll watch your video. Hopefully it means something, but literally extra weirdo bones, right, lady? I'm not normal. So I'm watching it though, but it the way that you guys do it this is the feature for this, it does this. This is this now lasts 2 times longer. This is this. So when, as entrepreneurs, when we're trying to flesh out what that is, the features versus benefits, because no offense, not a lot of owners are very good at the marketing side. And I feel like you guys did a really good job of showing this is the tech, this is why it's better, this is why you should care that it's better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did you do that all yourself, or do you have was a part of your team? Like, what's your piece in it?
I did actually own that process for this round. And I just found that through storytelling, a story is really what's going to get your idea seen and remembered, and therefore shared to others. You have to have it be easily replicable in the storytelling. And so that was something that I learned very much from working, and co-founding Thinks. And I knew how important that Kickstarter video was going to be and bringing that story out. And amazingly, it resonated with people around the world in multiple different cultures. It's loved already on, I would say, every continent already. So storytelling is really a key piece that unlocks the idea.
Okay, give us some tips on that though, because the thing is, like, ideas dime a dozen. That's what everyone talks about.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the translation process that people aren't very good at, to go from, I have it, it's amazing, and it is technically better. For anybody else to share it though, they have to think it's better also. So that translation sometimes gets lost. Give us some tips that you have on doing better storytelling and those ideas.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's like coming up with that one tagline with, it looks classic on the outside, feels like a sneaker on the inside. Boom. People know what it is. There's no real explanation even needed after that point. I mean, that will get you eyeballs, and then you can tell more about what the product does.
How did you come up with that though? Like, how did you even get there?
It's like, taking out a piece of paper and writing. Like, what are the key benefits? Like brainstorming, what are the key things? When I think back to actually thinking of the name for Thinks, we were like, well, it's thoughtful underwear. Like, it thinks of you when you're not even thinking, right? It should perform without you even needing to just put it on, and you don't have to do anything. Also, we had the give back, right? In the beginning, it was 1 pair of underwear sold, fund 7 pads for a girl in the developing world for her monthly cycle. So it was thoughtful underwear, really, all around. When it came to the shoe company, it was just like thinking about how products had failed us when it came to a flat and a heel, and how to just quickly tell how this one is different. And another tagline we have is, you can't break a glass ceiling with a glass slipper. Like, the idea of a hard, painful shoe. And we are working women. We're out there in the world trying to be present in our meetings, trying to go to an event and enjoy ourselves, or talk to that person that we're nervous to talk to, but want to make a good impression with. If we have even 20% of our brain focused on the pain that we feel in our feet, we're not going to be our best selves. We're not going to be centered. So I don't know, really, for me, I'm a very visual person. I come from artistic, family. And I find that you have to get away from the computer and take a piece of paper out and just start writing. And I think back to on coming up with a name for Thanks. Originally, the girls had finalized on the name Celebration.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God, we can never call it that. And we all realized we could never call it that. Let's be period. So, but I had pages. I had like 3 pages of what other ideas could it be. And it's a process. You have to go through so many wrong things before you find the right thing that will really distill it and, bring your idea front and center where people will understand it.
Well, how do you know it's right then, though, right? Because there's no guy going, yeah, good job, guys, right? Ladies.
I think you have to, work on your intuition. And that's guided me a lot in the world. Also, when you do something like a Kickstarter campaign, you start to learn from presenting your idea out into the world what works and what doesn't. For instance, we learned an early lesson in 2013 with Thanks on Kickstarter that we had our nude called nude. That was a rookie mistake, but before the nude conversation had really happened. And we changed that to beige pretty darn quickly because there's many different shades of nude in the world. But we learned that through getting feedback from others. So also, getting feedback, sharing with your friends and community, sharing on a platform like Kickstarter. It's a great place to survey your people. And if something isn't working, you're going to pretty much find out very quickly from them by getting feedback.
Like, oh shoot, change that. Okay, great.
Yes.
Trial by fire, which again is a testament to you guys listening and then actually making those changes, which is wonderful. But Kickstarter is a whole beast in itself.
Oh my God,
and you're doing
right,
and you're doing it again. So give me some tips on Kickstarter too, because I know a lot of people that are, especially with a big idea like these, that take quite a bit of funding, and you want to validate it at the same time. Give us some why you chose it and who should be picking it.
Yes. So very different, by the way, creating underwear and creating shoes. Creating underwear, you're dealing with a pattern, you're dealing with fabric. Yes, we have technology, great advanced technology in that underwear for things, but it's very different than creating a shoe, which is literally like a car for your feet, especially when you're doing a high-tech shoe like ours. So it's very capital intensive, and Kickstarter was a great place to go for that original seed funding because it's incredibly expensive to do. But some of the challenges for Kickstarter is you have to be prepared that if your idea does have major success, like ours did, I was nostalgic. I set a $50,000 goal like I did for Thanks for the shoe company, and we hit that within like 24 hours. I was like, here we go. And we attracted, more than 8,000 people pretty darn quickly. And to take care of those people, you have to plan for, because customer service is going to be your number one issue after you raise that money. People are going to want their product. They're going to be excited about your product, and they're going to want to deliver it to them and meet your timeline. And the problem, and I want to see Kickstarter evolve a bit, because Kickstarter as a company, I feel could do even more, supporting the creators. Because we're living in a world where you have these people that don't understand. We do not have a company already, established. This is the first time we're creating this together with you, with your funding. And that is a message that you have to help them understand as you go forward. So communication is key. Communication is so key. Updating your backers, keeping them sort of like on a low simmer. Because if they get on a high burn on the stove waiting for your product, they will start eating you alive.
They get mad. I paid for this, right? Come on, give it to me now. Yeah.
Yes. And understandably, like, they're excited. They want the solution, which is great. But man, you have to be able to communicate. You've got to have the customer support. So, we've had a couple growing pains at the shoe company for sure. At the beginning, we had like 2 customer service people. And that just was not enough for 8,000 people. And it ended up being even many more because we had web sales happening. So we had to increase that staff, and there's time to train them. So it's just like there's a lot of complications that go in. So be as prepared as you can be in the beginning is helpful. Also, get your prototype to as finished of a place as you possibly can. It's challenging though, because I understand you want to put it on Kickstarter because you need to get the money to get to your final prototype. But whatever you can do with friends and family support, keeping it close to the chest and then bring it out into the world, it will help, because people also really don't want to wait too long. They really don't want to. They want to wait about the time it takes to make a baby, about 9 months at most. There's something about 9 months. I'm not kidding. It's just that's where the stamina runs out for people. And do the testing that you can with the people that you have, friends and family, again, with your prototype, because working out the kinks in advance and not having it shared on like the public stage is the least painful process. It will be the least painful for you. Also think about shipping internationally, because people don't realize you are putting your idea out there. You're going to get people from Australia, from Singapore. How are you going to ship it to them? Are you going to pay for duties? Are you going to pay for the VAT? Are you going to, like, we had actually one country, they will be named anonymously, who literally held a pair of shoes and would not let it out to their customer unless we paid some exorbitant fee, like basically the cost of the shoes themselves. And so you got to really understand, are you going to, be able to deal with all that? Or should you focus, on the US, really only ship to the US in the beginning? If you're going to do that, scale closer. Positives from that, from Kickstarter, you absolutely find your market. You are able to, survey your people really well, find out what works about the product, what you should change, your terminology, what you should change before you then make bold billboards, with this stuff. And then testing price point is also really helpful. And then also, honing in on your storytelling and focusing on how you want this to be shared widely with the world, and just getting really, really focused on that. So you'll get funding, you will get the funding. That's important, but there's so many other things about it you got to be prepared for.
Awesome. How did you do all of that? And do you still work at Thinks and Icon? And how did you, because that's a lot. Okay.
We have a great CEO at Thinks and a great CEO at Icon, and a team of, my God, I think we're approaching 80 some people this year. So that is its own operating amazing system. I'm still one of the largest shareholders, active with the board, but they are a powerful, impassioned team that believes in the vision of that company, and they're at it day in, day out. Around 2015 is when I started the seed of the idea for the shoe company. And I am now full-time focused on it ever since I launched the Kickstarter shortly before that. And I also am a mom of 2 daughters. So it's definitely a lot to balance. I have an amazing husband, and I, am able to have help, which is great. It's not the easiest thing for sure, being an entrepreneur and a mother, but time management, man.
I feel like moms of kids that are entrepreneurs are the best time management people ever. And I have another interview coming up with the One Thing, the Jay Papasan, who wrote that book. And I'm like, that's great. And kids and mom and there's more than one thing. I don't know. So how do you balance? Well, quote unquote balance, right? Like, how do you manage all of those things?
It's really, really hard. It's really hard. And I think that we need to talk more about just how hard it is so that things can change, to be honest. I find that we are still very much living in a patriarchal society that does not recognize motherhood and how important that is, and how important those early years are to be there with your child, to be able to nurse my daughter and to have that connection, that bond. I have a 2.5-year-old now, and we are so close because I was able to have time to do that. But not many mothers are supported in that way. You have 2 weeks. I mean, in some companies, if that. There's some mothers that, they have a job that's minimum wage and they have to go to work. They can't pump. It's just so many challenges that mothers face. And I'm glad that New York has a great policy now that just went into effect this year. My God, it's 2018 has taken forever to get just 3 months of support for mothers on maternity leave. But there's so much more that we have to do. I think UK is a great example for us. They have like a year of maternity leave for mothers, and it's partial pay at some point from their job, and they can't get fired. Like, we need to have that kind of support for mothers. So when you're an entrepreneur, you're able to be more flexible because it is your schedule. You set it more so, but your kids set your schedule too. Like, they demand attention. You can't get an email done in the same room as a child. Okay. Like, people need to understand how hard it is. But if you raise good children, my God, it changes the world. So I want us to be able to focus on them more. And I really hope policies start to change where we can be more empowered to be mothers, and more businesses are being started by the world than ever before, at a record pace in America. And I want that to be more supported. Women have great ideas, but we also bear the children. Hello.
Oh yeah. My daughter's 9 now, my youngest, and I was working for myself, and I was a solopreneur, and I was a coach, and I just all I did. And so I remember nursing and having the laptop 2:00 in the morning going, just got to get this one thing, and she's okay. So we're good.
Yeah,
right?
so
Like, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah. How many kids do you have now?
I have 2.
Congratulations.
They're old. Yeah, right. They're still alive. Okay, we're good. We're still good.
Alive. Exactly. It's all about keeping them alive.
Goal number 1, right?
Yes.
Well, and that's sometimes how it feels when you're a mom going, like, I want to be the perfect mother as best I can. And gosh darn it, kids, come on. It's a hard work. Give us a break for a minute. And it is one of those things where, of course, they don't see, but they see what you do to manage. I'm a single mom of 2 kids, right? So I'm like, I got all the things. And thankfully, I don't work in a minimum wage job, because I can only imagine what that would be like for people. But to be able, for a single mom, but to be able to go through and go, okay, this is my priority number 1, are my kids. Number 2, like business. It's hard to be able to go, okay, well, they need this. And you don't realize until after effects, right? On if you screw up your kids or if you screw up your business. Usually it takes a little while before, right? So we're just doing the best we can with what we have and hoping that it all turns out okay, right?
Yes. I find that children teach you about living in the present moment, because literally in a blink of an eye, they could hurt themselves. Okay. So they teach you that. And one thing that's so important is, if you are going to be a mother and an entrepreneur, you have to put down the device. Mm-hmm. You have to be present with them in the moments that you are able to spend time with them, and make that time really rich. I recommend making dates with your kids. Victoria and I, my oldest, who's 2.5, we now do mommy and toddler yoga on Fridays, which is, by the way, really great for anxiety control when she has a newborn in the house. It's now taking mama's additional attention, you know? Right. So make time for them so that you can be fully the mom, or the dad, whoever's listening to this, that, you want to be. Because that time really makes a difference. And if you have them in a daycare or with a nanny or whoever else is managing the care throughout the day, bring on great people. Like, you really want to find people that resonate with you, that really have the same kind of values as you, because they're going to be spending a lot of time with these other people, with these other caregivers. So work on that as well. If you have family, that's great. Not everyone lives close to their family. We have such a nuclear family that lives now in diasporas all around the world. We're all spread out. Yeah. So, but really being present is so important. And then be present to your entrepreneurial goals. There's time. You have to make buckets for it all with your time.
Is that what you do? Is that, because that's the other piece, is that I always feel like mom has mommy guilt no matter where you go, right? So when you're with your kids, you're guilty you're not working on your business. When you're in your business, you're guilty you're not with your children. And so you're never happy, which is a wonderful thing, right? How do you flip that?
I know. I will say, for me, one thing that really, really helps too, that grounds me as an entrepreneur and as a person, is having a morning meditation practice. My meditation is my medication. Okay. So just setting the day right. It is the foundation, and just doing that, everything else is more manageable. And so whatever guilt I'm feeling for not being 100% perfect, I'm like, you know what? There's self-love there too. Like, I'm going to be able to say, okay, you're doing the best that you can. This is a challenging situation. And thank God for support. And you also go back into gratitude, to be able to see the light and see the things that are going well. When I don't do my meditation, then you skew negative. You skew to all the problems, right? So I really find that's such a key. And because it's not an easy journey, it's really not. And it is such an easy way to say, oh, well, how does she balance it? How does she do it all? Actually, you don't do it all. You do what you can every day. You do what you can. And if you make progress in your entrepreneurial vision, like by writing those 3 important emails that one day, like that's a successful day sometimes. It just has to come down to that. You cannot set the bar so high that it's unattainable and then you beat yourself up,
That's when you spiral. And I'm so thankful that you said morning meditation, because my children know when I have not meditated for the day. I mostly meditate every day, but sometimes they're like, so Mom, I'm like, yeah,
Are
totally
you okay, Mom?
missed it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I noticed too. Thanks. But imagine how amazing that is, teaching your kids that when Mommy doesn't meditate, she goes a little crazier, right? Comparatively. And it's actually teaching them to have a good meditation practice at this early age too, which I wish I had, We're raising the kids that you wish you would have been when you were little.
Right. And for them at this age, it's like nap time. Their meditation is like nap time or quiet time. Just quieting the mind. I'm teaching Victoria, like, quiet the mind, listen to your breath, like calm down, be peaceful, feel relaxed. And it's definitely a process, especially living in a city like New York. There's so much stimuli everywhere. And you have to learn how to disconnect. And with our devices, my God. I was not raised with them. I'm grateful that at the foot of my stairs growing up with is Encyclopedia Britannica, that I would open and not find the answers that I was looking for and get so frustrated. So I have a deep appreciation for the World Wide Web now. These millennials do not have that appreciation. But with all that greatness of these devices, it can suck your energy and make you a frenzied person. The brain is an electric thing. It needs time to unplug, And so we have to provide that to ourselves.
I adore that.
And then we can do what we need to do.
Yeah. As everyone's listening to a podcast right now going, oh, I'm plugged in right at this moment. They're in my ears.
So maybe they're running, maybe they're, cooking. Right?
Yes, exactly. Right. We're not actually paying. That's why podcasts are amazing. So I know I need to wrap up, but I adore the chat about, growth is amazing. And so is joy, right? On the daily life. So I'm going to wrap up with the last question. What is one action listeners can take this week to help move them forward towards their goal of 1 million?
One action. Well, they would know. Go deep within themselves, sit and go deep within and ask themselves, what is that one thing that I have just been putting off? And I know that if I did it, it would really make a difference. You have to follow that little seed, because those seeds come into your intuition, into your mind, and you know that it's scary and it freaks you out. And maybe you're totally nervous and that's why you've not done it. Just do it. Just literally do it. My mom has this saying. She says, even if your toes have to get scrunched up in your shoes, do it anyway and say it anyway. Like, you just have to do it. You have to.
I love that your mother has a quote about shoes also. I think
That's true. Never thought about it that way.
But now with the new shoe technology, they don't have to get scrunched up. Tell us where we can find more about the shoes, where we can get them, more about Thinks, and more about you.
Yes. So Thinks is at www.shethinks.com, S-H-E, thinks.com, T-H-I-N-X, by the way. And then Icon is also Icon Undies, U-N-D-I-E-S. Icon is an empowering spin on the word incontinence, because that product's all about helping you when you pee, sneeze and pee a little. And then the shoe company is Antonia Saint NY for New York.com, and it's SAINT.com. And you can find me on Instagram, Antonia St. Dunbar. That's where I live and post most frequently.
I love it. We're going to link everything up, and now I'm going to go follow you on Instagram, so everyone else do that too. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie. This has been great. So great to connect.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview. And if you want to check out more amazing resources, I'm only curating the best of the best. Go check out eventualmillionaire.com. You can take the Eventual Millionaire quiz, figure out where you are in business and what you need right now. Plus, you can look at curated resources specifically for you on the new Start Here page. I'm so excited. Please join us. Please let me know if you need anything at all. I'm here for you. And have a fantastic day. Bye.